Welcome to the Overrated Experience Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Blondin. If you've just joined us for the first time, the Sports Betting Podcast that you've joined is for square bettors. Those are bettors that are basically amateur bettors, non-pros, anybody who likes to take action on the game on TV, maybe just starting out, maybe a beginner to sports gambling, since it's kind of going crazy across North America. Everybody's signing up and putting a few dollars on games. This is the spot for you. This is the podcast to listen to. It is the sports betting community that will help us all get better and grow. And just like this podcast, you can follow the Overrated Experience on Twitter at Overrated EXPER2, and look forward to your comments. I know there's listeners out there from all over Canada and all over the United States. Welcome. We glad to have you here today. Just chaos, like as far as sports goes. World Cup is winding down. Some great semifinal action just behind us. NHL and NBA are ongoing, but they kind of take a back seat right now to the NFL and World Cup. And we'll get more into the World Cup and NFL in this podcast. And we'll also touch on some NCAA college football games that are going to be taking place, all the bowl games. There's bowl games everywhere. There is a lot of movement in these games. So we'll see we'll throw a few picks your way, see if it works out. See if I have any luck on that, and we'll talk about that in just a short bit. But just to get some thoughts on what's going on right now. So as I've started this podcast, we're coming off the Thursday nighter in the NFL. That was the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Seattle Seahawks. And the San Francisco 49ers have won the division, and now Seattle's reeling, chasing, probably not going to make a serious run at a playoff spot here. But 49ers, clearly the better team, clearly covering the spread, 21-13. Absolutely amazing. It's funny because today I had a parlay where I dropped the total of the game down to 39.5, along with the Leaf in the NHL Maple Leaf New York Ranger game to go over 4.5, which did not work and did fail. But watching the football game, at the end of the game, the 49ers broke for the last play of the game pretty much. A running back, I can't even recall who had the ball, heading down the field, got tackled on the 1 yard line. That would have been a shoe. That would have been a rock or something at my TV. If that would have been the difference in me not walking away with money in my pocket. So just something, as a sports bettor, there's probably a few frustrated people out there. But unfortunately, I lost earlier, so I don't care. But I do have something to go off on here. I think this happens every year in the NFL. We look at Seattle, and I'll use Seattle as an example. Geno Smith, solid year, solid quarterback. But, we were already penciling him in as the next franchise quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. But that has faded away. Teams have had a chance to check out film, really put a plan of attack in play where he's not as effective as he was earlier in the season. And you can see that based on Seattle's fading away in the standings, and probably never hear from them again for the rest of the year. But, we've seen it before with many quarterbacks. Fitzpatrick, when he was with the Bills, Tampa, Jets, same idea. Fitzmagic was the whole theme, especially in his last year in Miami, and that went nowhere, eventually fading away. Each of the teams he's been on, Keenan Allen with the Vikings, his run with the Vikings ended when the Eagles smashed them in the playoffs, and he went on to sign with the Denver Broncos and faded away. So the NFL, they pretty much peg quarterbacks early, meaning if they have early success, for the most part, not every scenario. We have usually a quarterback is set and is probably going to be successful over a lengthy period of time. And even look at Mitch Trubisky this year for the Steelers, signed with the Steelers to help with Pickett, first round pick. Mitch Trubisky won that first game in Cincinnati, slowly faded away. Pickett now the starter. Pickett with injury issues. So Trubisky comes in last week, throws a few picks. Even his own wide receivers are asking for Mason Rudolph to be in instead of Mitch Trubisky. So these guys fade out quickly. And we tend to invest in these quarterbacks way too early before there's a full body of work, 16, 17 games. It's not an 8-game season. It's not a 9-game season. It is a 17-game season, and you need to wait until we see what happens across the whole season. So lesson learned to all of you folks who are on the Seahawk bandwagon, it ain't happening. I turn my attention over to some of the bets I had tonight. Leafs I talked about. Had them in 2 bets. One bet over 4.5 of the Rangers, and another one 5.5 parlayed with the Dallas Stars. Washington Capitals go over 4.5. Let's just say I didn't work out. I wasn't successful, but that's not what I'm going to talk about today. So for those who are hockey fans, those who are in the Ontario region, know one of the superstars in the Toronto Maple Leafs is Mitch Marner. And one of the stories that was capturing the attention of Leaf fans, most hockey fans, was Mitch Marner was on a 23-game point streak. Now, that point streak ended tonight as Marner didn't get a goal, did not get an assist. And before I'm going to talk about what pissed me off about not just the NHL, the Leafs, and the kind of decision at the end of the game was Mitch Marner's streak even showed up on FanDuel that you could follow along, place bets. Will he get it tonight? Will it be an assist? Will it be a goal? Will it be in the first period? What's the situation? What's the time of the point he'll get? Some good stuff from FanDuel when it comes to, adding value, entertainment to an otherwise regular hockey game. And, the Leaf Nation, caught on board with this Mitch Marner chase. And you're watching with over a minute to go. Leafs give up a 3-1 empty net goal. Game is it's not pretty much over. We got over a minute face off in the Rangers zone. They don't pull Matt Murray. They don't pull the goaltender for the extra attacker. What do you have to lose by pulling the goalkeeper with a shot, a low percentage shot, no question about it, but you tell me that there's no hope to potentially score a quick goal and put the Rangers on the back heels, reeling that second goal may happen? The Rangers were involved in the game against the Devils a couple nights ago. They scored 2 goals in 19 seconds. So why is Sheldon Keefe not pulling Matt Murray to try to tie this game up? But at the same time, Mitch Marner is sitting on the bench with over a minute to go, streak on the line. And even if you thought that the odds of coming back were very little, not worth it, was it not worth it to try to get that point? Maybe Marner scores, maybe he picks up a second assist. You had a whole fan base for weeks following along this chase. Do you not think your fan base was interested to keep this streak alive, or at least go down swinging and fighting to do so? This is the failure of the NHL and how they look at entertainment, or lack of focus on the entertainment aspect of the game, where fans like this stuff. Fans love this stuff. The fans want to see the stars. They don't want to see a 5-1 game in the third period where somebody's on 2 goals, let's say Ovechkin or Stamkos or Nathan McKinnon, Austin Matthews. They want to see the team go for that third goal. Is there, like the other 2 weeks ago, Tage Thompson for the Buffalo Sabres scores 6 goals. He had 6 goals after 2 periods. And I can't even recall what the record was that has stood for 100 years as far as NHL goals in one game. I think it was 8. And he had less ice time than his average throughout the rest of the season. Why are we not chasing this stuff? This is what the fans want. And the stupidity and the old school thinking of the NHL, they get in their way too many times, and they fail to recognize what the greater audience wants. So, you know what? These players, clamor to have the cap expand. in relation to income, revenue for the league. This is the type of stuff that has fans buying tickets, buying jerseys, buying center ice subscriptions, all those things that put money in your pocket. So get your head out of your ass and start entertaining like every other sport does. So I'll end my diatribe there about my thoughts in general about the NHL and their lack of entertainment focus. Back to sports gambling, back to the World Cup. Looking at the two semifinal matchups that we just experienced, Argentina defeating Croatia 3-0. Some good success there from my part, taking shots on target, quite a few shots on target, especially from Argentina where I needed at least 4. They took care of Croatia. So for those who are just joining, and remember I said this is for a square better, this podcast, the introduction to sports betting, you may not know as a soccer fan, let's throw that out there, that there is way more options than you may think that you can place money on that doesn't just involve winners and losers of a game or how many goals are scored, but for you new folks out there to gambling, you can bet on corners, cards, time of first goal, was there going to be more goals in the first half, second half, player props, and you can tie those all together in what are called same-game parlays within the same game, so you can have multiple things happen that they would all have to win for a bigger payout. So for those new folks, new gamblers out there that have joined and just joining the podcast to learn a bit more, explore the sites that you've chosen to invest in and see all the betting options. Of course, the popular ones like Bet365, you're not going to beat, especially for soccer. I encourage you as the World Cup finishes, think about if you're interested when the EPL, the Liga, the Bundesliga get back up and running. All those options will exist. You'll love it. You'll have fun with it. And you may find a wager out there that appeals to you, and you may have a niche on it. And you may want to share some picks at Overrated Expert 2 on Twitter with our audience. But in this case, if you're looking at shots on target versus match shots, what that means is the shot on target actually has to make it to the goal, saved by the goalkeeper, or tipped over the bar, meaning that the goalkeeper prevented the ball going into the net, or the ball goes into the net. And this also includes penalty kicks, which has been a lot of. That would count as a shot on target if, obviously, you don't Harry Kane it. On the second penalty attempt, he had experience of putting in the fifth row. That would not count as a shot on target, but just a lot to learn, and just understand the bet before you click submit and wager money, so you know what's going to count or not count. Going into the France-Morocco game, that one did not work out for me too well. I had a same game parlay on, which I've been doing for the majority of the World Cup. The same game parlay I had was over a goal and a half, but also France to have 5 shots on target after they scored their goal. They really had 2 shots on target the whole game, and those were the 2 goals, which I was shocked. Morocco carried the play. Morocco could have easily scored and tied the game 1-1 and or took a lead. They put up a good fight, but France was the better team. And as we transition over to the World Cup final, honestly, I'm not going to talk about the third place game, which is actually going to take place on Saturday between Croatia and Morocco. I don't think Croatia really cares. I don't care. Morocco may care to put an effort toward it, but I am not going to touch that game. I don't care how much of a degenerate I am. I care less about the third place game. I don't know why they still have this game. But the World Cup final, some interesting lines so far, and I'm using FanDuel myself to check out the lines. So that's when I speak of my lines here, that's where they're from. So some of the interesting ones include France is actually the underdog at minus 106 to win the World Cup. I want Messi to win. I want Argentina to win. I think we all, unless, you just hate the world, want to see Lionel Messi last World Cup, raise the cup, move on with life, and get his just dues as, maybe the best of all time, or at least let's forget about Cristiano Ronaldo and that argument and put Messi up top, is we want to see him hold the cup. But that's where my heart is. But my mind says France is the defending champion. France they're the better team. Like, you can't tell me Argentina is the better team. Argentina may win this game, but France is the better team. So ideally, I should unload at minus 106 on France to win this. So there's value there. This game to be over 2.5 plus 148, I think there's value there, especially if there's an early goal. I mean, there's nothing else to play for. Teams have to go, they have to score. They have to take chances. There's no tomorrow. So we've seen the last World Cup final, Croatia and France was the highest scoring affair. Why can't this be the same way? 148 is absolute value. And even something to think about. I'm not going to throw it out there that I'm thinking about. This is more of a, let me ponder this one. The 2.5, I'm all over. The pondering is going to be over 3.5 at plus 390. Why can't this go nuts? Why can't Mbappe try to chase the golden boot, run his total up? Why can't Messi run his total up? There's an opportunity there. There is absolute value in that plus 390 for sure. Don't discount that. Same game parlay, good value. I find is over 1.5 goals. I think for sure there's going to be 2 goals, but also 7 shots on target, and that will. It doesn't, it's not a big payout, but $100 will get you an $81 profit. So I think there's good value there. I think the odds are that's pretty much a lock. And something else to keep in mind. Again, last game of the tournament, 4.5 cards at plus 100. These two teams, they're desperate. I was surprised there were not more cards in the Morocco-France game, as there was one in the first half and nothing in the second. But there is value to 4.5 cards over at plus 100. So something to keep in mind there. But I'll end that by saying I think I'm steering towards France. But I'll be happy to see Messi win and go home with a World Cup. So that's your World Cup insight. Those are your World Cup bets. And now on to something we haven't talked about before. And I'm going to take a stab at a few games for some bowl games in the NCAA bowl season. Now, what you need to look out for is you can get carried away as a sports bettor betting in NCAA football. These games are on during the mid-afternoon. They get you in that situation where, oh my God, there's something to bet on. Let me throw some money on it, but I have no idea what the hell these teams are about, what I should pick. I will warn you that it is at a super high right now where these teams, some of them are in chaotic states right now because their coaches have left. So at this point, a lot of coaches resign and they set out to wait, and they don't coach their last bowl game for the most part, and they wait to join their new team next year. And I'll give you an example of a game of that's very chaotic. A lot of injuries, or a lot of players that are expected to go in the first round of the NFL draft tend to hold out, do not want to risk injury, and take the time to prep for the NFL draft and do not show up in these games. And we're talking about impactful players. So maybe you can look at that as potential value because it's harder to set a line with some of these players no longer going to play. So that there could be value there actually. So keep that in mind though. Really read. I've used covers.com, some of the articles here and the various writers that they have to go over some of these games to come up with some good insight. And I would suggest taking a read at covers.com for the various games throughout the month of December. And when we get to the big bowl games, the BCS championships, we're not there yet. I haven't got picks yet, but we're talking about, Ohio State, Georgia, TCU, Michigan. Those are the top 4 teams trying to win it all. As we get later in the year, I'll provide some picks there. So let's get started. So I got 3 picks. One is a Friday bowl game, 3 p.m. UTSA was actually started out as a dog, a 1.5-point dog against Troy. UTSA is the 25th ranked team in the nation. When I say nation, that's the United States. and Troy's the 24th ranked team. So it's flip-flopped here. The 1.5 is now UTSA, San Antonio, is favored by 1.5, and I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to go with the minus 106 juice on the minus 1.5, and I will be betting UTSA to cover the spread. Now, worth noting, I think I've mentioned this before, but anybody who's joined recently, there's a great app out there called BetStamp, and it's a sports betting app that allows you to have a one-stop shop to see each of the games, not just obviously NCAA football, but we're talking baseball, hockey, football, and it allows you to see the odds from all the sports books that are available to you. That helps you make comparisons. So in this game, as an example, maybe FanDuel, which I use right now, is minus 1.5 with some other book. Let's say Caesars. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe they have the game at 2 points as a UTSA is a 2-point favorite. I don't know. But a good value tool to have is called BetStamp. It's an app. You can download it, and you might see some value there. One of the Saturday games, Cincinnati-Louisville, is going to be taking place at Fenway Park. This is the Fenway Bowl. This is the Boston Red Sox play for baseball, and this is where the Green Monster is, if you're familiar with MLB ballparks. Now, this is one of those games where I talked about the chaos of a bowl game now that the regular season is over. Reading Andrew Callie's article from December 15th from Covers talks about, from a coaching perspective, each of these teams is not going to be coached by their coach that coached throughout the regular season. Cincinnati's coach has left to head to Wisconsin, so he'll not be coaching. And also the ironic part, the Louisville Cardinals lost their coach to, the Cincinnati Bearcats, the team they're playing on Saturday. Although that coach will not be playing or coaching that game Saturday. And also, each team's offensive and offensive coordinators, my understanding, are also gone. So I don't even know who the hell's coaching these teams and who's calling the shots on the defensive and offensive part of the ball. And then you have some player opt-outs. You look at dual threat quarterback Malik Cunningham is going to be sitting out because he's prepping for the NFL draft. And then you have Cincinnati quarterback is hurt, Ben Bryant. He won't be playing. So this I don't even know how you put a line together with so many unknowns, as is expressed in this article on Covers, which I thought was some good insight. But I personally like when there's chaos in a college football game, 39.5 points for the over-under. I'll take the over. I'm not going to take the over because there's going to be Patrick Mahomes kind of offense going where, it's quick down the field. It is going to be fumbles. It is going to be interceptions. It is going to be turnovers deep in territory. There's going to be garbage touchdowns, bad football played. I think the 39.5 over 40 points or more, I think it's going to happen. Sometimes I believe bad football results in easy points, and in college football, these games seem like they last forever compared to the NFL. 40 points, mark it. And my last bowl pick is the Florida Oregon State football game, which also takes place on Saturday at 2:30. Oregon State is a 10-point favorite. Now, here's what's interesting is, and I don't know if this is just the Canadian FanDuel app, but the actual game itself, the Bet365 app shows the Florida-Oregon State game. However, the FanDuel app that I'm using for Ontario is not showing this game listed. I don't know why that is the case. I know that Florida does not have their starting quarterback, who also is prepping for the NFL draft. But I found it very strange that this game could not be found. And if it pops up at some point, my play here was going to be Florida to cover. Florida, even though has lost their quarterback to play this game, their starting quarterback is experienced transfer from Ohio State. And their run game is impactful. So, and they play in the SEC, which is the toughest division in college football. So I think they can hang with Oregon State and cover the 10 points. And again, a lot of this is based on information I took out of the Covers article. So take that for what you will. Florida to cover 10 points. Again, it's not my expertise in any way. This is more of a quick analysis of the bowl games because as degenerates as we are, these are games that will be popping up throughout the month of December, and we'll most likely be putting a few dollars down. All right, now on to the bread and butter of the podcast so far, and that is the NFL. Not such a strong week last week. I had my five-finger discount picks last week, which I'll continue to go into this week, picking on 5 plays that may help you out, but or 5 plays that I know I'm going to go with. And I'll go through them pretty quickly here. Some information that you may need to know. Just know that Lamar Jackson is out for the Baltimore Ravens. Oh, sorry, let me tell you. That game takes place on Saturday. And exciting news that the NFL, after the college season is over, they tend to have games on the Saturday until the end of the year. And this week it starts with 3 games. Minnesota hosts the Indianapolis Colts. The Ravens are traveling to Cleveland, and then you have the night game, which is probably one of the games that potentially of the week is Miami heading to Buffalo to take on the Bills. To start off though, for the Saturday games, important to know during the Cleveland game that and Baltimore game, Lamar Jackson will not play, which is obviously a huge impact, and this is why Cleveland is a 3-point favorite in this game. I'm not going to touch this game. I don't know what to expect with Hundley at quarterback for the Ravens and Deshaun Watson on week 3 of his return. Will he see an improvement back to Pro Bowl form? I don't know. I don't care. I'm not touching this game. Now, the game I will be looking at is the early game, the 1 o'clock game, which is Minnesota taking on the Colts. The Colts are absolute trash. They showed that against Dallas. They're trash. Coaching's a mess. Their offense is a mess. They don't have a quarterback. Outside of Jonathan Taylor, running back, they have nothing going on. They don't throw the ball downfield. Minnesota is a fraud. Let's not kid ourselves. The Vikings are a fraud. However, I got to imagine that they will be the team that will easily win here. If they lose against the Colts, write them off now. But I can't see it happening. So out of this game, one of my 5-finger discount plays is Justin Jefferson to go past 93.5 yards receiving. Now, keep in mind, Justin Jefferson has gone out of 13 games so far. He has 9 games where he's passed 93.5. How can you not ride that this Saturday? Justin Jefferson is a superstar. He's the man. He had over 200 yards receiving last week against the Lions. Crazy. Take it. Miami, Buffalo, I like the over. I got suckered in last week, Jets and Buffalo. Same thing where I think it was like a 7-point halftime lead by the Bills. But I'm going back to it. I'm going back to Miami, Buffalo, over 44. This is the Saturday night game, the game of the day. Just some other plays in here that are worth noting. This is not part of the 5-finger discount. These are bonus add-ons I'm just throwing it for you. Tyreek Hill, who is ridiculous. One of the best, most impactful players in the NFL, and he has been for the last few years, and has continued it as he's gone to Miami. His over-under for passing yards is 75.5. Now, I would have normally been all over this, and I still might, but if you watch the Dolphin-Charger Sunday Nighter, you notice that as soon as Tyreek Hill hit 80 yards receiving, he was sitting out some key plays due to the issue with his ankle or shin, whatever is going on. They had the ice, I don't know, it wasn't really an ice pack. It was looking like a wet cloth or something on his shin or ankle area that I guess keep loosening it up. But you could tell that later in the game, He was going to the sideline for treatment, and that kind of scares me a little bit. He's been at full practice this week, apparently, so looks like he's full go. But, man, he's impactful. 75.5 yards, still may take it. Just want to put that out there. One of my other five-finger discount plays this week is Josh Allen. Again, he didn't light it up last week. He's struggling right now. But to see an over-under for his passing totals at 237.5, I'll take that every day and take my shot. I believe that Josh Allen obviously remembers that loss in Miami. I think he wants to put on a show and light up the Dolphins' D. The Bills only lost that game because it was hot as hell in Miami, and that O-line and team could not handle that heat and keep going as it got into the fourth quarter. If you remember the scene, Ken Dorsey, offensive coordinator, in the camera, where the Bills couldn't get to the line before the game ended to spike the ball or get a playoff to kick a game-winning field goal attempt. That is sitting in the back of their minds. They're going to light up the Dolphins, at least light up the scoreboard on their side. The Dolphins may do the same thing. This may be a 30-plus game. I don't know, but I know the Bills are going to put points on the board this week. 237.5 over. That's money right there. Also, another play for the Sunday is adding Dallas to your teaser. So for those out there, again, your teaser is multiple games. For me, it's usually 4 games where you select as a teaser. It's a 6-point teaser where you get 6-point relief on your spread or 6-point on your over-under, and you get a nice payout, but all 4 games do need to win. So I would add to any teaser I put together to take Dallas from a -4 heading into Jacksonville to a +2. I think Jacksonville had a great game against Tennessee last week, but I think Dallas is going to walk in and take them to the woodshed. So there's value there. Here's a strange one. I would put Carolina at -150 over the Steelers in a parlay. I think there's value there. They're playing at home. They have something to play for. They're still in the chase for a playoff spot. The division's lead over Tampa. Pittsburgh's really got nothing going, especially if Mitch Trubisky has to play and Pickett can't go. I think there's value there. I think Carolina is in a good spot right now to take that win. Value -150. And those are my five-finger discount plays, meaning that I'm giving you a discount because I'm just giving you for free, and they're steals because I think you'll like them. But some parlays to end it off. I think there's some good value parlays here. Minnesota plus Buffalo. Saturday. You put $100, you win. It's a -109. You're going to win $90+ there. There's good value. Minnesota's not going to lose. I like Buffalo to win. Miami could absolutely win this game, but I see Buffalo pulling it out. Weather's going to be a factor this time. It's going to be cold. I just don't see Miami working well in the elements compared to where they're at home in Miami. Carolina plus Philadelphia. Philadelphia is not losing to Chicago. They're a 9-point favorite. Philadelphia wants to maintain the NFC number 1 seed, and you pair them with that Carolina game, that's a +105. So I think the Philadelphia game's a lock. I don't think you have to think about that. Carolina's a bit of a gamble, but I think you're going to find +105. There's enough value there. Also, you have the Cincinnati Bengals taking on Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not good. You know, I'm a Tom Brady fan. He's the GOAT. But they look like trash right now. And the faith I have in Tom and team being able to turn this around is very quickly fading away. I look at the Cincinnati Bengals, obviously on the upswing right now. They're back into that Bills-Chiefs situation. They're chasing Baltimore. They're, for that division win, home field game in round 1. And I can't see Cincinnati blowing it against Tampa Bay. But heads up, warning, Joe Burrow did show up on the injury report with an elbow issue, but he's at full practice. So what does that mean? I don't think it means anything, but worth noting, he is on the injury report. And Hope to God there's nothing wrong with his elbow, because I'm on Cincinnati this week, and I'm going to pair it with the Chargers. I think the Chargers have found what they want with the receiving core. I know their secondary is banged up, but they're moving the ball. Herbert looks great. I think they got their offense to where they want to go. And I don't see Tennessee coming into L.A. and just handing off to Derrick Henry is going to be enough. They're going to chase in this game, and the Chargers win. So Cincinnati plus LA Chargers, both money line, will pay you out plus 150. $100 plays $150. So I think there's huge value there. That being said, those are your NFL plays. Those were your NCAA plays. Those were your World Cup insights. Remember, the Overrated Experience is your sports betting podcast. Be part of the community. Join us. Give your thoughts. And maybe we'll all become better. So that's it. Over and out. Have a great night. Bye-bye.